welcome back to In Spirit with Missy Reno Smith.
And I'm Vanna Smith, and in this episode, we're going to be talking about Archangel Jophiel, the Archangel of beauty and love and relationships and all that fun stuff. So,
That's about it.
Yeah, let's start off with the question of what I basically just answered of. What does she do?
Yeah, you just answered it. Well, yeah, okay, so, no, there's more to it, right? Archangel Jophiel, one of the female archangels.
Gotta love that girl power.
Yeah, this is a girl power day. So Jophiel is, she's a badass.
Yep, as all the female archangels are.
Yeah, she's awesome. Okay, so Archangel Jophiel, she oversees the cherubims.
The cherubims, one of my favorite types of angels, too. They're pretty cool.
They are pretty cool, and they are not babies.
Yeah.
They are not tiny, chubby little babies with wings. That is so messed up.
It'd be pretty fun if they were little chubby babies. I love little chubby babies.
Well, but they're not. They're just not. They're like, they got big eyes, you know? Mm-hmm. So I think that's why maybe some artist who maybe, like, you know, had some ability was like, oh, they got big eyes and big heads, yeah. And so that's like a baby.
Oh, they're like babies.
You know. But no, they're not like babies.
But in the old paintings of cherubims, like Renaissance paintings, they're kind of like weird, almost like adult-looking babies, though.
They are
weirdly
creepy.
Long. Yeah.
They're creepy babies. No. So she works with them, and they're all about, you know, same things that she is. Love and beauty and relationships. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense that she works with them and leads them. She's like their leader, yeah. You know. And she's one of my favorites. I have a portrait of her. Yep. I'd actually like to do another portrait of her because I took some real artistic liberties with my Jophiel portrait. Yep. You know, with her hair. She's like, you know, fire is one of her elements. Yeah. You know, represents her and that. So I gave her some real like cool fiery hair and that, but I'm kind of thinking, gosh, I should probably probably show her real hair, what she really looks like too. So, you know, forgive me of that, but you know, as an artist, like
you got to take some artistic liberties. You know, you got to show what she's all about.
I do, and she totally supports that because she's all about art.
Yeah.
Know? So yeah, that's probably why I like her because you know, I'm an artist and
you guys connect.
We connect, and she's just cool. You know, her name means beauty of God. Or God is my beauty, depending on how you're translating it, but that's what it is. So yeah, that first portrait I called, you know, God is my beauty. Mm-hmm. The next one will be beauty of God. Yeah. Because I'm not creative in naming.
Yeah. It's what her name means. It's a good enough name, you know?
It's good enough for me, but yeah, so I don't know, I think she's really cool, and I think there are, you know, even if you're not into art and that kind of stuff, I mean, I think she is still an interesting archangel to connect with because of love and relationships.
Yep. So with her, you know, she's all about love and beauty. What is her personality like? Because I kind of, when I hear, you know, all about love and beauty, I'm kind of picturing like almost like a little bit snooty, like a little bit better than everyone else, you know?
No, I mean, yeah, no. She is, I don't know, I just think she's down to earth, quote unquote, down to heaven, I guess, nice. If you're in heaven.
Yeah, that's nice to hear because she's so beautiful, you know, you kind of think that they wouldn't be as down to earth, but she is, you know.
No, she's easy and she is, sort of, like kind of forceful in, but I think sometimes we need to be forced in love. Yeah. You know, like, and, you know, we need to work up the courage and all of that. So if Jophiel's kind of coming into your space and it's time for you to get with your person, you know, she's probably going to be a little forceful.
Jophiel could probably help me with something like that because I don't think I'm the type to ever approach anyone.
Well, so we need to, you know, feel the courage and that. And so maybe she kind of help with that. Yeah. But no, otherwise she's just easy. She's easy to talk to. She's beautiful outward and in. And, you know, and she is actually kind of funny too. So.
Has she told a few jokes, a few laughers, some knee slappers to you, you know?
I guess, yeah. I don't know that I put it quite that way, but yeah, no, I mean, she's just, you know, she can make a joke, or, you know, she recognizes when something is funny and laughs with you, and that. So she's just easy to talk to.
And is she making jokes with what's his name? Chamuel, is that how we say it?
It's Chamuel.
Chamuel. It's like Chamuel.
Yeah,
she
just
works
like
with
Samuel,
Chamuel.
but
You told me before.
Yeah. Okay. So Chamuel is the one that the you know, the Greeks and Romans and whoever they call Cupids, right? So Chamuel is he's pretty badass too, I guess, you know. He's an archangel. He is not. He's not a cherubim, but again, he works with the cherubim.
Yep.
So it makes sense that he works with Jophiel. So yeah, they kind of hang out.
Chamuel. Sounds like ShamWow.
It does. It does.
Chamuel.
Yeah. You know, Chamuel has a lot of fans out there. I get clients that come to me and want to know about Chamuel, and I'm like, why Chamuel? Like, where is this coming from? Like, where are people hearing about Chamuel? Because
that's surprising to me, because like when you told me about Chamuel, I'm thinking, Chamuel? I don't remember ever like reading about Chamuel, you know, in the Bible or anything like that. Chamuel.
I think Chamuel might be one of the 7 that is mentioned in the Bible. I might be wrong on that. So,
yeah.
But Chamuel is definitely an archangel that clients ask me about. One of the more obscure ones, because we don't talk about him very often.
Yep.
So I always find it funny when
and that's one of the most interesting thing about our Archangel series too, is that there's so many of them, but yet like most people just know like Gabriel and Michael, and like everyone else is just like, don't know him, don't care. But there's just so many that do so many different things for us.
There are so many, and you know, there's crossover as well, and you know, we talk about you know, gods and goddesses, and you know how, you know, certain civilizations, that's how, you know, how they understood them to be. They called them gods and goddesses, and you know, when you think about Aphrodite, you know, her role sort of crosses over with Jophiel's.
Yep.
And there's room for them both. You know, there's room for everybody. There's so much to do. There's so many planets. You know, Earth is just one place, you know, where we are. And of course, in heaven, we work with them as well. And, and that, so, I mean, there's just so many of us. So, you know, there's a lot of archangels, but yeah, so, you know, it is funny to me when somebody asks about one that I consider to be more obscure, and that, but yeah, so she works with Chamuel. That's the gist of what we're saying, I guess. It's a long way to say that.
Yeah, but she works with Chamuel. Chamuel, Jophiel go together. Are they in a relationship?
No.
I love all the relationship tea, you know, about all the archangels, you know, we've talked about it in the past before. Some archangels, like, kind of date each other a little bit, you know?
They do, but you know what's funny about Jophiel is she rides solo.
Which is really funny because she is so beautiful, and it's all about love and relationships. Yeah.
And that. And don't get me wrong, it's not to say that she doesn't have relationships, because she does. But I don't see her as being coupled, you know, like in a permanent.
Yeah, she's too busy helping everyone else out with their relationships. She can't focus on one for herself at the moment, you know?
She takes time, I'm sure. But, like, you know, I don't know. Girl wants to get around and, you know, meet a lot of people.
She's got to do what she's got to do.
She's got to do what she's got to do. It's not looked at really weirdly like that over there. And I'm not really talking about promiscuity or anything. Like, I don't really, but like, you know, spending time with people and, you know, getting to know them and that, but just, you know, coupling in a general sense. Like, some people do, but most people don't.
Yeah.
Think of eternity, you know, in one person, and all of that, you know.
It can be hard to even spend 2 minutes in a room with someone sometimes, you know, let alone eternity.
Well, I mean, we learn so much from each other, you know, and so you get to know somebody for so long, and it's like, well, we want some new experiences too. I want to learn from somebody new, and Jophiel certainly is part of all of that, right? And it's not just here on earth. I mean, in heaven too. We want to meet people, and you know, we want to find the right people that will help us grow. And it's not always about love, you know, and sex and all of that. I mean, you know, relationships in a general sense, you know, families and all of that. That's love too. I mean, you know, just not romantic love. And that's so, I mean, the cherubims and Jophiel and Chamuel, they deal with all of it. So they help us find people that will help us grow. Does that make sense?
That makes sense, yeah. And every time you say Chamuel, you get like a little smile on your face, and I get it too, just because the name is just so funny.
Well,
Chamuel.
We're big fans of the ShamWow.
We're big fans of the ShamWow.
We love infomercials.
Oh my god, the as seen on TV stuff. Live for that. I mean, my dad, he used to buy all that stuff too. He's like, ooh, as seen on TV.
Yeah, he gets very excited.
And honestly, all this stuff would like work really well for like a week until it would break, but you know, it worked.
I don't know, those chamois, they were pretty good.
They were pretty good, yeah. I mean, they could soak up like a whole glass of water in the commercials. That is ShamWow.
It was very ShamWow, and I'm sure that Chamuel would have loved to be like the spokesperson for ShamWow.
And is Chamuel's colors yellow? I hope that it is, because that's what the color of the ShamWow.
Gosh, you know, it's more orangey.
Well, it is kind of orangey, the ShamWow, orangey yellow. So he's ShamWow colored.
But you know, and that brings us back to Jophiel, though, because, you know, her colors are orangey pink, which is a color that I refer to as Padparadscha. It's like a lotus flower, like a sunset, and there is a sapphire called Padparadscha Sapphire, and in my portrait of Jophiel, God is my beauty, you will see her Padparadscha in there, and I am working on getting one up that you can buy in my store, so you can buy that same necklace,
a little Padparadscha necklace,
a Padparadscha Sapphire. So we're working on that, but it's definitely you know, a way to represent her. And love and all of that in general. And I love that, you know, here on earth, like, we tend to associate pink and red. I love that in heaven it is so much more rich. It's this orangey pink. It's not just red and that, because I just think that color symbolizes so much more than just, you know, one thing.
Yeah, you've always loved Padparadscha. I remember growing up, you know, anytime you'd see anything that was like Padparadscha stones or like that kind of color, you were always like, ooh, look at this.
Because it reminds me of her. And, you know, and I just think it's really a special color, and I love that God gave us a sapphire, you know, that looks like that. I have quite a few of them. We have a little collection going. You know, and now they're making lab-created Padparachas with it, which is very exciting to me, because, you know, earth mined versus lab-created. I like lab-created, you know.
It looks the same, a little cheaper.
We're not, nicer, like, you know, like, we're not, like, you know, creating these, you know, holes in the earth and everything to get to them, just for something we want to wear. So I don't know. So I'm a big fan of that.
Better for the environment.
But sure, yeah.
And also, like, have you ever seen videos where they mine the diamonds? It looks really dangerous too.
It does. It does. But at the same time, though, too, like, that's these people's livelihoods and everything. So I don't want to discount that. But you know, but I have a nice mix of real and lab created, and so the jewelry that we're going to be releasing will be the same. You know, we'll have some options. So, but yeah. So if you want to you know, think about, if you want to bring that energy, that Jophiel energy, a Podprasha sapphire is a great way to do that. A cheaper way to do it would be the Mystic Sunset Topaz. That is a similar color.
Yep.
It's a white topaz with a treatment on it to give that color.
Yep.
That's fine. Not everybody wants to spend the money on a sapphire, right? So that's a great option. I mean, just pink or orange, I mean, that's fine too, right?
Yeah.
The colors are in there.
And for us broke young folk, just think of the color Podprasha, just picture it in your mind, and and that's good enough, Jophiel.
Cubic zirconia, they have all these colors as well.
Yep.
So, for me, jewelry, I wear jewelry, I don't wear it all the time, but like, I just think it's a great way to associate those things. Like, if you want to bring that energy to your life, I mean, it's just one way to do it, right? Like, if you're thinking about Michael, it's blue.
Yep.
If it's Gabriel, it's like a golden amber color, and Jophiel, it's pinky orange. It's fun.
Pinky orange. It is a nice color for her because she's all about the love and relationships. So with the relationship stuff, how can she help us with our relationships, particularly? Like, what can she do? Can she help, like, strengthen communication? Can she help, build trust? What can she really do for that?
It's all of the above, but also finding your person, because that's a big one for people.
Do you think she helped you find my dad?
Well, I don't remember her being a part of that, but it was my story to find him very young.
Yeah.
And my guardian angels spoke up, when I first met Daddy, they whispered in my ear that was the person I was going to marry, and it freaked me out. And as it would, not that hearing my angels whisper to me freaked me out, because they always do that, but for them to actually give me something that was mine, it was about my life, and that was pretty intense for me, because they're pretty mum when it comes to my own life, so it was the angels, but it was, my guardian angels, and I'm sure that she had part of it over in heaven, hooking Daddy and I up together originally. I
don't like the wording of that.
I did not mean it to sound like that, sorry. But like, I'm talking about like in heaven when we first met each other, right? Yeah. Like, she was probably part of that, because we were connected. Yeah, we were connected over there. We didn't just happen to meet on the street. We were introduced specifically for a very specific reason, and so I'm sure that she had something to do with it. So if you're looking for your person, call on Jophiel for help. Yeah. Or call on Chamuel too, like, right? Like, they work together. Like, maybe, if you're just feeling Chamuel.
If you're feeling Chamuel, call on Chamuel.
And, but yeah, if you're, when we're having problems in our relationship, right? Like, we need help, with that stuff too. So all of those things, if we're trying to decide if it's time to move on to somebody different, that's another big one that you might want to ask for some specific help from Jophiel on. And if we learned what we needed to learn with somebody and it's time to move on, that's sometimes
sometimes you just got to move on.
Yeah. And we need courage, right, to do that. Oh my gosh, it takes so much courage to move on, because it's scary out there. Yeah. Am I going to find my person or not? And will I be alone for a long time? Or I don't know. Like, it's just, there's a lot of reasons why people stay and prolong things. But, so she can help with all that.
I think that I need some help with that. I haven't found anyone, and at some point I got to find someone.
You will.
So I need Jophiel and Chamuel to help me out at some point. Got to find someone. Because you told me before in the past, on the podcast, that I don't really couple with anyone over there on the other side. So I don't think that I necessarily would have someone that's just, automatically like set up like, oh, I have another life coming up, so I'll marry you, again and again and again. Like, you and my dad, you guys have been married a lot here on Earth. So
Yeah.
And I just don't really do that.
But that doesn't mean you won't have somebody here, and that just means that you're, more in it for getting a wider variety of learning experiences with different people.
Because when you have a different person, it really does bring on a whole new set of challenges, every time in every life, Even if you're with one person your entire life, it's still a different person in this life than it was in the last one, So, with you and Daddy, wouldn't you say that you, had a kind of connection just, automatically, he told me he walked into the room and you just kind of knew, but you guys really just had that connection.
Yeah, I just felt it when you walked in the room, and then my angels confirmed it when they, started telling me those things. So, so for me, it was like a love at first sight. Yeah. It was like a recognition. Mm-hmm. I think that might be even a better term. It was like I recognized him. Yeah. On a soul level, like something very deep, and that because I know him so well, and we've had so many experiences over there and here and other places and that. So but they can work that out, that and maybe it's just slightly different, that sort of love at first sight thing. Yep. Getting, hit by Cupid's arrow kind of a thing. Like, and you just, you see that person, and they can certainly create those feelings even if you're meeting somebody for the first time, because you'd still be recognizing them because your plan, your higher self is fully aware of your plan. But they can work that out so that you can feel something or get a sign. You can ask for a sign. You can ask her to show you something. I don't care what it is. I mean, it's whatever is personal to you, but show me a sign, something that I would recognize to sort of help me or give me a feeling or whatever, you want, so that you feel confident that you've,
Pick a random thing, just, hey, give me a sign of that. I should probably pick a random thing now, put it out into the universe when I meet my person. Let me think of the most random thing I can think of. A seal.
Seal? That's pretty random.
That's pretty. That's something you don't see every day. A seal, something to do with a seal. Yeah. When I meet my person, I need a seal, like a image talking about it, or something. A seal.
They might even get creative though on you, so it might not be like an ocean seal, like the sea mammal. Yeah, it could be like a seal. Yeah,
like an envelope seal.
So, but that's fine. Just you're coming up with something and you're putting it out there to the universe. You're telling Jophiel, like, hey.
I'm telling Jophiel and I'm telling Chamuel, give me a seal.
Bring it on. Yeah. And that works.
Or maybe a seal song could be playing.
Yeah. Oh, that's another very creative way.
That would be kind of funny too.
And since Jophiel and Chamuel, they're all about art and creativity, you would expect them to be creative in showing you your symbol and that. So it can work. But, for people who are in the arts, again, you can call on both of them, Jophiel and Chamuel. You can call on the cherubims, just in a general sense. Remember, Jophiel and Chamuel are archangels, and they're like leaders over the cherubim. So, sometimes when you ask Jophiel for help, she sends you cherubims, right? Depending on what you need. But if you're in the arts, you can call on them for help. It doesn't matter what type of art, music, fine arts, music, drama, anything, comedy, anything, all of it is just all together. Yep. They can help you with that, if you got a big audition or something.
So Jophiel can help me a lot,
Yeah, Jophiel can help you.
With my improv.
Yeah, especially with something like that when you have to be thinking on your toes.
It is a whole different type of art and acting, because, you walk up on stage, you have you don't know what's going to happen. There's no expectations. There's nothing. You just have to figure it out.
I'm nervous just watching you. Like, I got butterflies in my stomach just watching you, knowing that you're going up there and you have no clue what you're about to do.
and it's kind of like the most fun part about improv, you know, for me, especially now. I mean, I was just there last night, you know, and it's walking up there and just, I have no idea. Like, I was given a piece of paper last night and I didn't know what was going to be on it. And I had to do this emotion, whatever was on this piece of paper, and figure out a scene from it. And I had to be able to give something to my fellow scene partners that they could work off of. They could work with this emotion I was doing. So it's, you never know what's going to happen. And it's kind of the fun part of it. It's like an adrenaline rush.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, there's lots of angels around for all of that. Yeah. And, you know, the arts in a general sense pull angels because they're drawn to it. Just like humans are, you know, they're drawn to it. And that, and the, you know, the cherubims and specifically, you know, their leaders, Jophiel and Chamuel, you know, they're drawn to it. They're there to help. So if you work in those areas or just hobbies and all of that, you can call on them. You know, I was struggling to find, you know, kind of a style. Like, I was just really struggling with that. Like, I just couldn't see my own style within it, you know. And so I needed help with that. So I called on her for help in doing that. And she, you know, basically was like, well, you're just not looking close enough, but you're, you know, here it is. And, you know, you'll continue to develop it and everything. And I just felt better about it after that. But, you know, also, you know, creativity in other senses, like being inventive and innovative. I think that the cherubims and Jophiel and Chamuel help with that as well. So I don't want to say like if maybe you're in the sciences and that, but you could still find that there's.
I mean, that's one of the greatest types of creativity too. Is the sciences and is the innovation and all that technology stuff, because that takes a lot of creativity.
It does. You have to be able to see something that's not there yet. Yeah. And so they can help you with that. So that's another group of people that can find help. Yep. Now, the other part of this is beauty. Okay. And I get that goes with the arts and everything. So it's they help us create beauty, right? The creativity, but also to see it, to recognize it. And to be it. And I don't mean necessarily on the outside. It's part of it. But it's more important what's on the inside. You know, what is beautiful on the inside. And so they can help us with that too if we're struggling. And so if you are, you know, trying to make yourself more beautiful, outside, inside, I don't care which, but again, it's...
I'll take some of Jophiel's help with that, you know. I'll take a little more beauty inside and out.
And if you're actively doing that, I do think that people can see it on us when we're working on our beauty, you know, internally and then also externally, right? You know, but I do think when we're working on that internally, I think that people can see it. And I think that, you know, if you're working on that too, it's also about recognizing beauty and seeing it in other people. And I
mean, truly the most beautiful people are the ones who are just, you know, beautiful on the inside and they are caring and they're genuine and they're, you know, all those things. So the outside doesn't necessarily matter.
When if you see a beautiful person and they act ugly, they are
then they are ugly. And then there's nothing pretty about them, nothing attractive at all. It's just you're just
it's just a shell, and that's not what people are looking for. So that's why I say we're working on our beauty. I mean, I'm talking about inner beauty and you know and that, so they can help us with that as well. So if you're working on that and you know, we're all human, you know, we all have human moments and we all have an ugly moment. Like, that's okay. Like, you know, but we want to try to minimize that. And, you know, try to recognize and pull that in, and they truly do help with that.
Well, I think that's pretty much it about Jophiel and Chamuel. I gotta lean real close to the mic for that. Chamuel. So, all right. Well, I think that's all the time we have. And thank you for joining us.
Remember that God loves you, and I'm sending angels your way.
If you'd like to learn more about Missy Reno Smith, please visit MissyRenoSmith.com to book a reading and purchase her artwork. You can find the In Spirit podcast on TikTok, X, Instagram, Facebook, and wherever you stream your podcasts.